World Aviation Forum opens in Abuja. Federal government praises growth in the aviation sector.
We are working very hard, taking very seriously our mandate for price and monetary stability to rein in on inflation and see to the fact that inflation is brought down to international levels.
Central Bank of Nigeria holds 259th monetary policy meeting. Liquidity, cash reserve remain unchanged. And President Muhammadu Buhari condemns Mobi mosque attack, directs police to quell similar attacks in Zamfara state. Hello, welcome to NTN Network News. I'm Joseph Johnson. Also reading tonight is Jennifer, who is in Lagos. Caleb is in Jos. And of course, Kemi is in our Ibadan Network Center. Thanks for your company. In what appeared to be a preemptive move to stall his impeachment, President Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe has bowed to pressure and resigned as president. Eliasu Ali Yakubu has the report.
Robert Mugabe resigned as Zimbabwe's president Tuesday, a week after the army and his former political allies moved against him, ending 4 decades of rule by a man who turned from independence hero to a typical African strongman. The 93-year-old had for a week hung onto power, but resigned shortly after Parliament began an impeachment process seen as the only legal way to force him out of office as president. Wild celebrations broke out at the joint sitting of Parliament when Speaker Jacob Mudenda announced Mugabe's resignation and suspended the impeachment procedure. People danced and car horns blared on the streets of Harare at news that the era of Mugabe, who has led Zimbabwe since independence in 1980, was finally over. Mugabe is the only leader Zimbabwe has known since a guerrilla struggle ended white minority rule in the former Rhodesia. In Abuja, Eliasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
For 37 years, President Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe held a firm grip on power as he governed the southern African country. Now, at 39, Mugabe was one of the oldest presidents in the world and did not show any sign of giving up power until some hours ago. Now, who is the man Robert Mugabe? How did he rise to power and what led to his fall from grace? Correspondent Makut Simon Macham tells us more.
Robert Gabriel Mugabe was born on 21st February 1924 in Kutuma village of southern Rhodesia. Mugabe graduated from St. Francis Xavier College in 1945 and taught for 15 years. In 1960, Mugabe joined the pro-independence National Democratic Party, becoming its publicity secretary. In 1961, the NDP was banned and reformed as the Zimbabwe African People's Union, ZAPU. 2 years later, Mugabe left ZAPU to form the Zimbabwe African National Union, ZANU, later ZANU-PF. He spent 11 years as a political prisoner under Ian Smith's Rhodesian government. As one of the key negotiators for the creation of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe's grip on the country commenced when he was elected Prime Minister in 1980 and in 1987 President. With successive re-elections, some of which were described as controversial, Mugabe sought to consolidate his power in 2000 when he organized a referendum to change the constitution and expand his powers. Groups opposed to the constitution and his perpetuity in power formed the Movement for Democratic Change, led by former ally Morgan Tsvangirai. On the global stage, President Robert Mugabe continued to exchange tirades with Western governments, particularly Britain, Europe and the United States, accusing them of trying to topple his government and recolonizing Zimbabwe. He was elected chairman of the African Union in 2015, and at 93, Mugabe until Tuesday afternoon held the record of being one of the world's oldest leaders, having been in power for about 37 years. The question is, how did a man who had a grip on power for so long and survived several attempts to unseat him lose it so rapidly? Though the question of succession was just waiting for time, Mugabe's travails came to head when he sacked his vice president, Emerson Mnangagwa, apparently to make way for his wife, Grace, to succeed him. This did not go down well with his party and the military, who, sensing a continued purge of perceived threats to the power game, swung into action, immediately placing the former president under house arrest. General Constantino Chiwenga, who announced the military's intervention, said it was not a coup, but a move to stop what he called criminal activities by elements around the president. From then onwards, it was a free fall for the 93-year-old as the clamor for his departure grew louder and louder, this time not only from his opponents but his core of supporters. The powerful War Veterans Association disowned Mugabe and called for him to go. Members of his party, the ZANU-PF, also followed suit, while the parliament threatened impeachment unless he resigned. In addition to the voice of the opposition, thousands of Zimbabweans took to the streets in a rare demand for his resignation. While the world anticipated his fall, Robert Mugabe remained defiant when in a national broadcast he refused to resign and said he would preside over the next ZANU-PF Congress. As the parliament began impeachment procedures, the handwriting became even clearer for Robert Mugabe that the time was indeed up, as he let go the last straw he was holding on to when Speaker Jacob Mudenda read out his resignation letter, sending the parliament and the nation to wild jubilation. What next for Zimbabwe and Zimbabweans? Who takes charge after Robert Mugabe? Has the will of the people prevailed over personal interests, or is the fall of Mugabe a discord among the elites? The next hours, days, weeks and months will provide answers as a 37-year-old chapter in Zimbabwe closes and a new one opens. In Abuja, I am Makut Simon Macham, NTA News.
Thank you, Makut Simon Macham, for that special report. And now joining me in the studio to talk more about the very latest development in Zimbabwe is Ambassador Bulus Lulu, former Permanent Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Ambassador, you're welcome to NTA Network News.
Thank you, Joseph.
Now, it's a fact already that has just been established that Robert Mugabe had a strong hold on Zimbabwe for almost 4 decades. Yeah. How would you describe his voluntary resignation? A preemptive move against impeachment, isn't it?
I don't see it as a preemptive move.
Okay.
Mugabe had come to the end of the road, and whether he took the move that you call preemptive or not, it was inevitable once the Zimbabwean parliament set in motion an actual impeachment proceeding, which was to have been concluded. Mugabe, sensing that he would be disgraced out of office, apparently decided to do what he ought to have done long before now. The events since the 15th of this month, resting with his broadcast on Sunday, that many had anticipated he would throw in the towel, rather revealed that age had caught up with Mugabe. For 37 years, as the background report by Makut Simon Macham indicated, yes, he had a firm grip on power in Zimbabwe. Mugabe also represented the very last, we must not forget, of independence liberation movement leaders to have risen to lead the country that they campaigned to be independent. And with his exit today, I think that final chapter in Africa has been closed. And so it opens a new chapter. Again, the background report was very, very clear. What chapter it is, we do not know.
Exactly. I was just coming to that, opening a new chapter. Now, what's next for Zimbabwe? Is a transitional government the best option?
It's inevitable for them to have a transitional arrangement. But how long that will be will depend on what the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides. It also will depend on what the leadership in the country will agree amongst itself. Soon following the announcement that Mugabe had resigned, if you have followed the news, Morgan Tsvangirai who had for a long time represented the face of the Zimbabwean opposition, spoke. And in one of the programs that I watched him, he was asked if he will take part in any transitional arrangement. His answer was very, very informative, because there he said, it all depends. But who succeeds Mugabe should be the greater question. Already ZANU-PF has elected a new leader, and I believe that that is the leader that will lead that transitional process in the country.
Okay, let's look at the economy now.
Right.
How would this development impact on the economy of Zimbabwe? And just more to that, let's also look at the lessons to be learned, especially for African leaders.
Zimbabwe's economy is in shambles. Zimbabwe is one country, one of very few that I've ever known, without a national currency as of today. If you go to Zimbabwe and you want to spend the US dollar, it is accepted. If you want to spend the rand, which is within its catchment area, it is accepted. And any other currency for that matter, since 2015, has been accepted as legal tender. Now, whoever takes over after Mugabe has a very hard and difficult task ahead of him or her, for the simple reason that the expectations today are very, very high. I would say, in fact, Zimbabwe is going through a second independence event. The first was in 1980 when the British lowered the Union Jack, and today ends what Mugabe had wanted. I'm coining this word, demonarchy. Demonarchy in the sense that he was trying to use democracy to create a monarchy. Okay. And so it's a tough lesson for us on the continent that leaders should learn to leave when the ovation is still very loud. Number two, you should not have this sense of entitlement that if you've had the vision, the privilege, and the opportunity to lead any struggle for that matter, you must not feel that without you, then the struggle will die. And thirdly, and finally, that the will of the people must and should always prevail. Those are the lessons.
We'll end on that note. The will of the people must always prevail. Thank you very much indeed, Ambassador Bulos Lolo, former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was nice speaking with you.
Thank you very much.
Now let's move to other stories. The prevailing security situation in Togo, Liberia and Guinea-Bissau dominated discussions as President Muhammadu Buhari played host to his Togolese counterpart, Faure Gnassingbé. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports.
The Togolese leader, Faure Gnassingbé, is the current chairman of the heads of state and government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The 51-year-old assumed power of the West African nation of 7.6 million people in 2005, following the death of his father after a 38-year reign. Reports indicate that he is currently facing unprecedented public pressure for constitutional reform, thereby threatening peace and stability in his country. And this was critically analyzed during the closed-door meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Togolese leader, which lasted about 2 hours. Similar security situations in Guinea-Bissau and Liberia were also discussed. On the Liberian crisis, President Muhammadu Buhari urged all parties to exercise patience while awaiting the verdict of the nation's apex court. He expressed the hope that the outcome of the court verdict would be accepted to all in order to ensure a peaceful transfer of power. President Muhammadu Buhari also reacted on the situation in Guinea-Bissau, urging the leading political actors in the country to not only ensure amicable resolution, but also agree on a transition that will pave the way for elections in 2018. The Togolese leader said at a media briefing that his mission to Nigeria was to seek the wise counsel of President Muhammadu Buhari on the best way towards addressing the challenges facing the sub-region.
Et puis nous avons parlé de la réforme institutionnelle de notre organisation.
We discussed issues relating to ECOWAS, some of them multilateral and some of them bilateral. We also reviewed security situations in our sub-region, These range from situation in Liberia, Guinea-Bissau, and Togo. On bilateral issues, we discuss energy, trade issues, and so on.
The two leaders expressed satisfaction with the progress made so far in the implementation of the ECOWAS reform and agreed that the next summit of the sub-regional organization would be held in Abuja on the 16th of December this year. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The aviation industry globally is reported to be experiencing growth and improving economies of nations. This growth is expected to double in the coming years. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the ongoing World Aviation Forum in Abuja advised stakeholders to ensure this growth is managed and regulated for safety and efficiency, and to take into account sustainable environment with friendly policies and regulations. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The set concern of the International Civil Aviation Organization at this World Aviation Forum is financing development of aviation infrastructure. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo describes this as a peculiar challenge in Africa, as aviation infrastructure development has not gone beyond mere talks.
The evidence is that it is difficult for aviation stakeholders and even states to access financing to build or rehabilitate airports, telecommunications equipment, meteorology infrastructure, and cargo warehouses, etc.
The Vice President says the key to achieving this is collaboration.
We believe that local and international private capital is the surest way to fund aviation infrastructure. But we must focus attention on de-risking private sector investments in infrastructure, and importantly, reducing the cost of funds that will go towards aviation infrastructure.
President of the African Development Bank, Akiwumi Adesina, and the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, Dr. Amani Abdul-Zaid, commended Nigeria for its bold steps in addressing challenges in the aviation industry and improving the ease of doing business environment.
The objective of the African Development Bank is to support the safety and security standards application of 20 African airports by 2019.
No nation, especially the economically weaker country, is left behind. And the only guarantee against this, as emphasized by the Vice President, is for stakeholders to address problems of access to capital and capacity for developing economies. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, has retained monetary rates, holding the monetary policy rate at 14%, cash reserve ratio at 22.5%, and liquidity ratio at 30%. Listing the factors responsible for the MPC's resolution, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, said the decision was to sustain the gains recorded so far in the economy in maintaining stability of the naira and keeping inflation rates low.
And that is the reason Monetary Policy Committee thinks that it is too high, and we're working very hard, taking very seriously a mandate for price and monetary stability to rein in on inflation and see to the fact that inflation is brought down to the traditional levels where we have a target of between 6 to 9%.
The governor, who expressed satisfaction at the third quarter growth rate, said economic outlook is positive, showing strong sign of recovery.
The committee welcomed the review of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan in an effort to realize the objectives of the plan. In the same vein, committee urges a quick passage of the 2018 appropriation bill by the National Assembly so as to keep fiscal policy on track and deliver the urgently needed reliefs in terms of employment and growth of the economy.
He emphasized the need for quick passage of the 2018 appropriation bill to enable policymakers swing to action and build on programs and policies that help achieve progress seen. Described as a proposed law for the authorization of government spending policy within a fiscal year, a budget is expected to impact positively on the economy and by extension the lives of the governed. In this special report, correspondent Hakim Jimo reports on Ogun State 2018 budget proposal tagged Budget of Accelerated Development.
In his bid to advance socio-economic development of the state and deliver on his campaign promises, the Ogun State Governor Osun has presented a proposal of 345.4 billion naira for 2018, an increase of 57% over the previous year.
Ogun State is the #1 state in the federation in terms of solid mineral production, producing 37.6% of the total tons of solid mineral produced in Nigeria. Square kilometers of underutilized arable land, a strong heritage in education, and proximity to large consumer markets. Ogun State is uniquely positioned to support Nigeria's current economic diversification agenda.
He noted that priority attention would be given to education, housing, health, agriculture, as well as rural and infrastructure development. He promised that government will continue to provide an enabling environment for investment to thrive. While reviewing the 2017 budget performance, the governor noted that the state was able to stand tall due to the implementation of the people-oriented policies and programs in the outgoing year, adding that youths were adequately captured in the 2018 budget through the creation of employment opportunities. The Speaker of Ogun State House of Assembly, Suraj Ishola Adekunbi, solicited robust collaboration among the three arms of government in the interest and development of the state.
Let's talk business now. Nigeria is to partner with the United States of America in strengthening economic ties through commercial investment dialogue. Let's join Musa Abubakar for details and more on business news.
Hello and welcome to Business News. In a bid to promote investment and explore economic opportunities that are capable of propelling all-inclusive growth, Nigeria and the United States of America have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU. The MOU is to allow for exchange of information between the two business communities and government on key commercial and investment matters.
It focuses on sectors that are of particular interest to us as Nigeria, notably infrastructure, agriculture, digital economy, investment and regulatory reforms. And all these areas are not just mere words, they are areas where we have a lot going with the U.S.
Meanwhile, the federal government has announced that it has priced its offering of $3 billion aggregate principal amount of dual series notes under its $4.5 billion global medium-term note program. The notes comprise $1.5 billion 10-year series and $1.5 billion 30-year series. The 10-year series will bear interest at a rate of 6.5%, while the 30-year series will bear interest at a rate of 7.625%, which will be repayable with a bullet repayment of the principal on maturity. And from the equities market, we now take a quick look at a graphic summary of Tuesday's trading numbers from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And that concludes business news this hour. The bulletin continues. I am Musa Abubakar.
We now go on our first commercial break. More reports shortly. Stay with us.
Mobile technology used to be for the rich, but then one company made it affordable to all Nigerians and pioneered per-second billing. As the nation accelerated into the future, data became the new currency. But at what cost? Glo is offering unmatched data values, giving you the unfair advantage. 100 Naira now gives you 90 megabytes. 200 Naira, 250 megabytes. 500 Naira, 2 gigabytes. 1,000 Naira, 4 gigabytes. 2,500 Naira, 12.5 gigabytes. 5,000 Naira, 30 gigabytes. By using their massive world-class infrastructure, Glo delivers high-quality, affordable data that benefits everyone. The power is in your hands. What you choose to do with it is up to you. Dial *777#. The largest data network. Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
The Southern Senators Forum will hold a Southern Senators Forum retreat from the 23rd to 26th of November 2017 in Calabar, Cross River State. The retreat will be a power-packed event featuring patriotic Nigerians of note to rub minds on the theme national unity and restructuring. Speakers will delve on various topics during the retreat: sustaining national unity in a restructured Nigeria, fears, challenges, and way forward by Governor Mohammed Baduru Abubakar, Jigawa State. Imperatives of restructuring in multi-religious Nigeria by Bishop Hassan Kuka, protecting ethnic minorities in Project Nigeria by Governor Sereke Dixon, and many more incisive viewpoints from Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, Abubakar Malami, SAN, Senator David Mark, and many more VIPs. Contributions from the Emir of Kano, Ezekletis Ilomoya, Oni of Ife, Jaja of Opobo, and other notable personalities. Guest of honor, His Excellency, the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki. Keynote address by His Excellency, the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Ekweremadu. Host, His Excellency, Professor Ben Ayade, Governor, Cross River State. Senator Hope Uzodinma, Chairman, Southern Senators Forum, announcer.
Introducing the new Onga ginger, onion and garlic powder seasoning. Now you can give your fish, chicken and beef the unique taste all in just one sachet. Onga, Mama's helping hand.
Now where you dey go when you wear makeup like masquerade?
I dey go give Johnny money make he help Junior fill in jam form so he go get admission.
Mama Junior, you no need any professional form filler to help your son to fill in jam form. All the information we candidate need dey inside 2018 UTME jam brochure, and then click on the brochure. Go sir, you go see the tertiary institution you wan attend, the course where you wan study plus the UTME subject combination you need for the course you wan do, whether na teacher, scientist, lawyer, doctor. You go know the higher institution dem wey dey your area and whether your state na ELDS, educationally less developed. Click www.jam.gov.ng to know the correct amount to take buy form and things them before jam begin sell form. You dey educated enough to fill the form by yourself for yourself.
This message is by Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, enhancing academic excellence.
Nassau State Comprehensive Special School, Lafia. Admission is now open for nursery, primary 1 to 6, JSS 1 to SS3. Interested candidates must be persons living with disabilities, blind and low vision, deaf and hard hearing, physical disabilities and autism spectrum disorder, and multiple disabilities. Application forms can be obtained at the 13 local government education departments, Ministry of Special Education, Science and Technology, Lafia. Forms can also be downloaded from www.nscss.school.ng. Completed application forms are to be submitted on or before 4th December 2017. Priority for admission will be given to Nassau State indigents living with disabilities, catchment area and geographical spread. This announcement is signed by Professor Jonathan M. Ayuba, Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Special Education, Science and Technology, Nassau State.
Niger Dock Logistics and Support Base is a leading provider of oil field-based services located at Snake Island Integrated Free Zone, Lagos, Nigeria. We have full port status and comprehensive supply-based capabilities. Niger Dock employs over 5,000 personnel and operates 24/7 days a week. We have a proud world-class safety culture and a globally recognized track record with the oil and gas industry. Niger Dock. Proudly Nigerian.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, our melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
There's no limit to what you can do with data. With Nigeria's widest data network, it's amazing what you can make happen on MTN.
This is my message to you.
Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant. To achieve our creed as we promise, we shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, cordially invites all state commissioners, permanent secretaries, and directors of tourism and culture and other stakeholders in the tourism, culture, and national orientation sector to the 9th National Council meeting on tourism, culture, and national orientation with the theme Tourism and Culture as a Panacea for Nigerian Economic Recovery. Chief host, Executive Governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Muhammad Badaru Abubakar. Venue, Manpower Development Institute along Government House Road, opposite Commercial Secondary School, Takuru, Adwa, Duse, Jigawa State. Date, 22nd to 25th November 2017. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Announcer.
You're watching NTN Network News. Now let's turn our attention to Italy because the recent death of 26 female Nigerians in the Mediterranean Sea en route Italy further increased the concern on how to save Nigeria from the claws of human traffickers. As a national concern, Speaker Yakubu Dogara had led a Nigerian delegation to a conference in Rome, Italy, against traffic in persons, where he called on the European Union and especially Italy to ensure the prosecution of their citizens who abet human trafficking. Ignatius Nko has more.
International conference convened by the President of Italian Chamber of Deputies, Laura Boldrini, was basically to find out ways of strengthening diplomatic synergy in cross-border surveillance on human trafficking. Speaker Yakubu Dogara called on the international community to employ drastic measures in fighting the scourge of human trafficking, especially from Africa to Europe.
The Mediterranean Sea, regrettably, has today become the world's biggest cemetery, leaving deep wounds on humanity's conscience that will, over a period of time, produce historical scars to serve as a testimony to the ineptitude of our generation in dealing with this problem.
We want to be able to investigate and arrest the agents of those traffickers.
Director General of the Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking Persons, NAPT, Julie Okadonli, sought for Italian collaboration in fighting human trafficking. Isoke Aipitani is a Nigerian and was a victim of human trafficking. She was 20. Now she's an advocate of anti-human trafficking. There are usually two countries involved in human trafficking. That is the country of the victim and the recipient country. That is why Speaker Yakubu Dogara has implored European Union and Italian Parliament to ensure that all those involved in human trafficking by way of abetting as accomplice must be brought to book. From Rome, Italy, Ignatius Nko, NTN News.
And back home, the second ordinary session of ECOWAS Parliament has opened in Abuja for consideration of the 2018 budget of all ECOWAS institutions. Joseph O'Rourke reports that the president of Senegal, Macky Sall, who was special guest at the opening session, urged all member countries to work with ECOWAS institutions for socio-economic development of the sub-region.
The enhanced power of the Parliament now allows it to consider budgets of ECOWAS institutions in addition to its advisory role. And this is the first time it is putting that to test. President of Senegal, Macky Sall, urged the parliamentarians to equally distribute projects among member states and promised to support the socio-economic and political growth of ECOWAS region. Speaker of the Parliament, Mustapha Sisilo, lauded the Senegalese president for introducing ECOWAS biometric identity card to enhance free movements of people and goods within ECOWAS community. He urged the parliamentarians to use the opportunity to consider the budget to advance the integration process in line with Vision 2020. Nigerian Senate President, who was represented, urged ECOWAS parliaments to use the ordinary session to deliberate on ways of tackling hunger, terrorism and insecurity in West Africa.
It is a time of renewed hope for the West African future. With new opportunities as well as challenges, we must find the courage to tackle.
This ordinary session is scheduled to end on the 9th of December. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
So talking legislative matters, the Senate has resolved to invite relevant electricity distribution companies, the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission and the market operator Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company PLC. This is with a view to obtaining detailed accounts of the total amount collected on behalf of the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Commission. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports on these and the passage through second reading of a bill for an act to establish the Solid Minerals Producing Areas Development Commission.
HYPEDEC was established to conceive, plan and implement projects for the physical development of hydroelectric power producing areas and to tackle ecological problems associated with operations of hydroelectric dams.
A certain percentage of the total revenue generated by any company or authority from the operation of any hydroelectric dam in the member states of the Commission shall be remitted to the fund of the Commission.
Passing for second reading was a bill for an act to establish the Solid Minerals Producing Areas Development Commission to address environmental devastation. This was sponsored by Senator representing Zamfara North, Tijani Kaura. A bill for an act to establish a regulatory framework for the water resources sector, sponsored by the Senate leader Ahmed Lawan, passed a second reading.
This bill guarantees our right to use water, but guide against private ownership of water and ensure that the water resources of the nation are protected and managed in a sustainable and equitable manner.
A bill for an act to give effect and respect of human dignity and protection from inhuman or degrading treatment passed second reading. Executive communications from President Muhammadu Buhari were also received, including a request for passage of the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Repeal and Reenactment Bill of 2017. Following tributes to late former Vice President Dr. Alex Ekweme and a call to have him immortalized, a minute silence was held in his honor. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
And the House of Representatives has received 3 bills from the executive for consideration and passage. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports that President Buhari also withheld assent to 2 bills.
The President wrote to the House explaining the rationale for withholding assent on the Chartered Institute of Treasury Management Establishment Bill of 2017 and the Federal University of Ukari Establishment Bill of 2017.
For instance, the phrase treasury management is not defined in the bill, and greater clarity may be required regarding the impact of the bill on the Central Bank of Nigeria regulation of treasury managers in banks.
The House adopted 7 motions, with 3 coming under matters of urgent public importance. These include the need to investigate the sale of Power Holding Company of Nigeria non-core assets and scraps, sponsored by Representative Rita Orji. The need for the federal government to address the security challenges in Zamfara State to further safeguard the lives and property of Nigerians was moved by Representative Abubakar Husseini Moroki.
Some armed gunmen suspected to be cattle rustlers invaded 2 villages, namely Malamawa and Tungar Mekahu, in Shenkafi local government area of Zamfara State.
Representative Solomon Awinawi also moved a motion on the crisis situation in some parts of Warri South local government area of Delta State. He urged the federal government to deploy more security personnel in the area to forestall reoccurrence. The need to investigate the nation's 4 refineries, their turnaround maintenance to date, and regular modular licensed refineries sponsored by Representative Ibrahim Ayokunle Isaka was also adopted. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
To politics now, APC governors of the North Central Zone of the country have endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari for a second-term tenure. The decision was announced at the meeting which held in Abuja, organized by the National Committee of the Buhari Support Group in appreciation of the support group and people of the North Central Zone. Kalo Mohammed was there in our reports.
Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State and Simon Lalong of Plateau State, who spoke on behalf of the governors of the North Central Zone, decried the low reportage accorded the Buhari administration's giant strides in the areas of security, infrastructure and social investment. The governors further enjoined Nigerians to continue to embrace peaceful means of resolving disputes, urging them to take a cue from the federal government's quiet but effective dialogue in a bid to resolve the Niger Delta crisis and to secure the release of the remaining Chibok girl. The president was represented at the event by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Many of you here expended your personal time, energy and financial resources. To all of you, heroes of our democratic experience, I remain personally grateful.
For a very long time, we have waited for a leader full of integrity, and we have found Buhari.
When he came in, the entire nation was not secure. But this man restored security.
The APC national woman leader says she will continue to engage meaningfully with women to deepen the understanding of the federal government's social inclusion plan for them.
We believe he will take Nigeria to places and do it better.
The meeting was used as an avenue to drum more support for the Buhari administration. Kolo Muhammad.
President Muhammadu Buhari has commended the people of Anambra State, the governorship candidates, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), election observers as well as security agencies and other stakeholders on the peaceful conduct of the November 18 gubernatorial election in the state. In a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari says the process, peaceful conduct and outcome of the election have shown that the administration's electoral reform is bearing positive fruits. The President commends the conduct of the candidates' post-election results and urged INEC to improve on areas of logistics ahead of forthcoming election in 2019. President Buhari wishes the returning governor a successful new term in office and assures him that the federal government is ready to work with him for the greater harmony, peace and development of not only Anambra State but the entire country. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the suicide bomb blast in a mosque in Mobi and Adamawa State as very cruel and dastardly. President Buhari, while commiserating with the families of the victims, government and people of the state, assured that government would do everything required to secure the state from the deadly menace of Boko Haram. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said that the President enjoined the people in the entire Northeast to be more vigilant and report suspicious persons to security agencies in order to avert further attack on soft targets by the terrorist group. President Buhari also directed the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to deploy more police personnel to prevent further attacks. President Muhammadu Buhari prayed God would console the bereaved families and grant rest to the souls of the departed. And now let's link up with Jennifer in our Lagos studio for more reports. Jennifer?
Thank you, Joseph, and a warm welcome to Lagos. The Nigerian Customs Service says it is exploring all options in the reduction of importation of contraband goods into the country. The Controller General, while briefing newsmen in Lagos, stated that the ongoing reforms in the service to checkmate the excesses of importers, especially those in the business of importing arms and ammunition at the seaports. Feklawiki has details.
In the light of the staggering number of armed seizures made by the Nigerian Customs Service, the Comptroller General says the Customs Service has come up with strategies to tackle the menace of importers, especially in the arms dealing chain. The Comptroller noted that importers are in the habit of under-declaring the content of their shipment under the phrase of said to contain. This practice, he warned, will no longer be tolerated.
We would apply the laws as it's being applied globally. That if we do get any infraction, we will apply the law to its fullest.
About 2,667 rifles have so far been seized this year, with reward awarded to officers of the Nigerian Customs who employed due diligence in checkmating sharp practices by importers.
The more we prevent, these things coming to our shores, the better it is for our economy and, of course, for our security.
Tracking processes will start, and any ship that comes with this set to contain, and if we eventually find illicit, the law allows us to detain the ship and even seize it. We cannot forsake the security of our own nation.
He pointed out that officers who aid and abet illegal practices in operations at the port will be duly prosecuted. He enjoined shipping lines to follow due process and embrace transparency, as defaulters will not only have their goods impounded but charged for sabotage. The media briefing was a collaboration of government agencies and stakeholders of the maritime sector. In Lagos, Thekla Wilkie, NTA News.
To realize an effective and efficient public service for the country, the need for continuous training and retraining of officers has been emphasized. This was the message at the closing ceremony of the 6th in the series of the 2017 ASCON regular courses held in Topo Badagry, Lagos. Tunde Saiki reports.
The 6th in the series of the 2017 Administrative Staff College of Nigerian ASCON regular courses had 49 participants drawn from across the country's ministries, departments and agencies. They were trained for 2 weeks in the areas of advanced management, accounting procedures and practices in small and medium enterprises, and public sector auditing. Other courses were the Accelerated and Sustainable Rural Development course, Performance Improvement, the use of computer for financial management and conflict management and resolution.
I will assist in passing what I learned here to some of our colleagues. At the same time, I'm going to use what I learned here in discharging my duties as an administrator.
They said that going forward has been prepared to take over responsibility at a higher level.
The Director General of the College, Cecilia Gaya, who was represented by the Director of Gender Studies, commended the participants for outstanding performances during the program, noting that when a nation develops the capabilities of its workforce, they can take the responsibility to create other necessary and sufficient capacities for efficient, effective, and responsive service delivery.
The ability to successfully undergo the rigors of these courses for the past 2 weeks is a testimony to your preparedness for the challenges ahead, and thus gives us hope that this training will impact positively on your performance.
The 49 graduating participants were enjoined to go back to their various organizations to contribute their quota to the attainment of government policies in various fields. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
You're still on to NTA Network News. Time for some messages. The news will continue afterwards with Joseph Johnson in Abuja. Stay tuned.
Glow's unbelievable prize extravaganza just turned the week upside down. Thousands of winners will win hundreds of millions in prizes. Recharge Monday and win a flat screen TV. Ring in Recharge Tuesday with free 4G LTE phones. Recharge Wednesday and feel the power with free generators. Recharge Thursday with free fridges. Free microwaves make Friday free day. On Recharge Saturday, free Glow 4G MiFis. And just when you thought it couldn't get any bigger, a Sunday recharge could win you a car. Recharge and win every day. The more you recharge, the better your chances. The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now through our technology. LG OLED TV.
One, two, three, get it. Where the B-boys at? Where the hip-hop Where the B-boys at?
Can your milk do this?
Can your milk do this? Mine can.
With Hollandia evaporated milk, your ice cream, custards, and variations of beverages taste pleasantly different. Hollandia evaporated milk. Life tastes different.
From the house of cheese. Straight A's mean better days. Almost days I worry, my mind's so blurry. Studied every chapter, still can't find the answer. Always is the answer with its comfortable top layer and reliable protection with super gel. No stain, no gel. I know I get straight A's. Straight A's mean better days. Our future starts today. Happy always.
Now for only 150 naira, get the new Always Pocket Money Pack. The Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, ASCON, wishes to announce its workshop titled Entrepreneurship Development Program, designed for officers in both public and private sector organizations who have about 5 years or less to retire from service. The date for the commencement is Monday, 4th of December to Friday, 15th of December 2017. Venue, ASCON Complex, Topo Badagry, Lagos. Workshop fee, 120,000 naira per participant. Bank account, ASCON e-collection account. Account number 02-300-5586-1019. For inquiries, please contact Programs Director, Mr. E.E. Akpan, on 0037173823 or Programs Coordinator, Mr. J.A. Adamu, on 0034683872. Announcer, Director General, ASCON.
This is NTN Network News. The Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, has paid another installment of the 33% arrears owed the pensioners under the Defined Benefit Scheme, DBS. In a statement by the Directorate, the latest payment was made from the service-wide vote released last week by the Federal Ministry of Finance. The statement adds that PTAD will settle the outstanding arrears of the 33% increment as soon as additional releases are made. The Directorate implores its pensioners to be patient and continue to exercise vigilance against the activities of fraudsters, noting that payment of pension and other retirement benefits is free. Let's now join Caleb in Jos for more reports on NTA Network News. Caleb.
Thank you, Joseph. Welcome to Jos. The mandatory continuing professional training, MCPT, is a gathering of all Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools and COPs to underscore the importance of training for effective service delivery in school administration. Ruth Oke reports that the workshop for the North Central Zone is holding in Jos.
The workshop is to avail principals the opportunity to update their knowledge by
brainstorming on topical issues that borders on education, as well as introducing modern techniques in running school and implementing relevant education policies. Speaking, the Plateau State Governor Simon Bakola, represented by the Commissioner of Education Alex Joseph Mariga, says the mandatory training is to help principals and administrators stay abreast with global best practices in basic and post-basic education.
Education is a key agenda. This is why providing the economic infrastructure and meeting the general conditions that will enhance one and efficient environment.
Chairman North Central ANCOPS Olusegun Abifarin and ANCOPS President Plateau State Awol Joseph charged participants to judiciously utilize the knowledge gained, thus calling on the state governments to address the issue of paucity of teachers in the core subjects. The All-Nigerian Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools has its theme for the year, Enrollment of Mid-Stream Students for Senior Secondary School, Issues and Challenges. In Jos, Ruth Stephen Hockey, NTA News.
We'll now take a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay with us.
The state of education in Nigeria. That is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live promises to be incisive, informative, and educating. Don't miss it.
Introducing the new Onga ginger, onion, and garlic powder seasoning. Now you can give your fish, chicken, and beef the unique taste, all in just one sachet. Onga.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
Helen!
Your kitchen gets 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
This also gets a 10. Should we see the toilet now?
Sure.
This gets just 1.
It is clean.
But not perfect 10.
Better than my detergent and bleach? Impossible.
Challenge? Try the new Apic 10X.
Compared to bleach and detergent, Apic sticker formulation removes yellow stains times better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow.
Now you also take that?
Apic 10X Challenge.
Also available in 200 ml pack.
Your perfect family is under threat by germs. Infectious diseases are now the world's biggest killer of adults and children. Every day, 16,000 children under the ages of 5 and thousands of adults die from infectious diseases. These infectious diseases are caused by germs. They are everywhere. An average human being comes in contact with over 1 million germs daily. In unclean water, dirty surfaces, in the toilet, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes. Germs can cause deadly diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, flu, and cough. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 Cap Full for surface cleaning in your bathing water, in your laundry water, for first aid, to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure. Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
The production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
The family of Onuwanwakama of Umuoji Ohanse in Obingwa local government area of Abia State solemnly announces the passage of their matriarch, Mrs. Jumaima Wakama, née Nwachukwu, aged 87. Late no arrangements, Wednesday, November 22nd, 2017, 3 p.m. Service of songs at her residence at Umuoji Ohanse. Thursday, November 23rd, 2017, time 10 a.m. Funeral service by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Venue, Ohanse Primary School, Obingwa, Abia State. Interment takes place thereafter, Abia State. She is survived by Mrs. Uloma Wakama, daughter, Mrs. Wamara Nachi, daughter, Dr. Mrs. Kate Ndokuba, daughter, His Excellency Right Honorable Eric Achonwakama, former Deputy Governor of Abia State, son, Dr. Mrs. Edith Nwosu, daughter, Mrs. Nkechi Ibazu, wife of the Governor of Abia State, daughter, Dr. Chukwuemeka Godwin Wakama, sons, 39 grandchildren, 15 great-grandchildren, and a host of other relations. Announcer, His Excellency Right Honorable Eric Achonwakama, son for the family.
And that's NTN Network News. Good night.